Hello everybody. In this video I'm going to be talking about how to be your own boss from a psychomagic perspective, and this is from the video Cabaret Místico 2 by Alejandro Jodorowsky. And well, he basically he does his talk at the beginning of this video, and towards the end he starts to give psychomagic advice, right? Psychomagic acts. So if you've seen me talk about this, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't heard me talk about this, summarizing basically what he says is that you can do acts that are symbolic and will feed information into your unconscious in order for you to heal from different problems or dilemmas that you may have in your life. And this is coming from an idea which I've spoken about before, I believe, and I've also felt, I believe in, but it's kind of hard to talk about because most people are going to reject that idea, especially if you find yourself in a very uncomfortable place, like if you have a genuine problem. But the idea goes a little bit like this. It says, you have the problems you have because not only do you want them, but they benefit you, or you want them because they benefit you in some way, right? He brought to the stage a person that was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and he's like asking him, like, what is your world like? Because the guy said that his world was like dangerous, and he thought about death, his death, And at one point, Jodorowsky just says, you're sick and you're crazy because it benefits you, because that way people take care of you, right? And it's kind of like, yeah, maybe he is right. But again, that's where the controversy starts, because if this gets taken to an extreme, you're going to say, well, how is it that I want these things in my life? But that's what you have to basically detect, because it's like Alfred Adler's notion of responsibility, right? You have complete responsibility, and this may be incorrect or not so accurate, but if you assume that responsibility, it's not so much so you can change things, it's so you can understand things, right? So think about, what are those benefits? First, think about what the problems in your life are. What are the situations that are complex or difficult? And then answer this question: what are the benefits? What do you benefit? What do you get out of this, right? He talks about, like, a person, the schizophrenia guy, saying that he fears going crazy, because I think that's a fear that some humans have, like, that I can go crazy, the fear of going crazy. And he says it's not that you fear going crazy, it's that you fear losing or letting go of that craziness, because again, it's benefiting you in some way, it's giving you something, right? Like attention, or people like trying to help you, right? For example, that's with the case of the schizophrenia guy, which I thought was kind of like intense, right? It's kind of like confrontational, but again, it is a controversial idea, right? Especially to put on people, to put that weight of responsibility on them. So yeah, this idea of you're not afraid of your problem or afraid of going crazy, you're really afraid of letting it go, right? You're not afraid of going crazy, you're afraid of letting go of or losing your craziness, right? Because it's benefiting you in some way. Now you can also ask yourself, why would you put yourself in this position, right? Because you have with your choices in life, right? Now you can say it's been accidental, I was born like this, right? But then ask yourself, like, why were you born like that then? Why do you find yourself in these situations, right? So this can be from two perspectives, because all of this is very abstract, so I'm gonna try to like define it a little bit. I can classify these type of situations into two very broad categories. The first one are situations that are locally or specific, right? This can be like things like everyday problems or day-to-day problems, right? Day-to-day situations, things that aren't that transcendent, but that still annoy you, bug you, little problems. And then you have the other one, which are more globally or more general situations, which are kind of to a certain extent out of your control, but still irritate you. They're still problematic to you, right? Yeah, such as like where you live, right, or where you work, right? If you're a person that's always complaining about their job, for example, well, why did you put yourself in that position? How do you benefit from that, right? If you're a person that has these like day-to-day problems, such as like traffic, oh, this route is annoying because I always take this route. Well, why are you putting yourself in that position, right? Why don't you take a different route? Oh, because this will happen. How are you benefiting from that, right? Yeah, I've spoken on this before, and especially this part of the psychomagic. So you can be your own boss because all you have to do is imagine the life you want and kind of like think about that constantly, feel it, right? And act as if you live that life already, right? This is where the psychomagic comes in. So do symbolic acts that represent that. For example, you can do anything you want to do, metaphorically representing it to your subconscious, right? To your unconscious. Here, I think the only limitation is how creative you can be, right? Like if you were to be given like a magic wand and someone were to say like you can have any life you want, like how would you picture that life, right? And then the sky's the limit in that case, right? Your creativity is the limit. And this is because your unconscious needs the information. This is what Jodorowsky said explicitly in this video. Your unconscious needs to have that information, right? As in, if you're lacking something, you do an act, right? Like let's say you're lacking money, then you get like some coins and you represent to yourself that you're getting like a lot of money. So then you will get a lot of money, right? So that's something that your unconscious will expect, right? You feed it that information. And also using your problems in new situations. I really like this idea where he talks about like this guy, I think I've mentioned it before, where he's like, he has this problem with his hands and he goes like this or something like that. He goes like this. And he's like, yeah, this is a problem because I just do this and it's annoying. So I guess they gave him like some sponges and they put them in front of like a thing that he needed to wash, and now he washes that thing, right? So it's like finding situations or contexts where what is problematic in your personality is actually helpful in those other situations, right? Because it could be that there's nothing wrong with you, you're just in the wrong context, in the wrong situations, right? In the wrong workplaces, for example. He talks about this guy where, I think he was schizophrenic too. He talks about this friend and he would hear voices in his head. So then, that's bad, right? That's a problem. But then Jodorowsky says, well, why don't you join a writer's room, right? In some like theater or for some movie or for some series where you can actually use the voices you hear for creativity, right? So again, it's that, using what you have that is problematic, but putting that to good use, right? Using that basically. So yeah, in order to do these type of acts, going a little bit back to the psychomagic, you need to do them, you need to set it up. So that's kind of a little bit of work. You need to kind of think about, the problem and what the solution would be to that problem. So that takes a little bit of work because you have to reflect. And then you have to use your intuition to get to that solution, right? The potential solution. You have to use the intuition and like the first impressions, the first things that come into your head. And then you set up the psychomagic act because it's physical. You need to get, like, for example, if it's money you need or want, you need to get like the physical money. You need to do, you need to get physical things that are going to represent that symbolism that you want. And that's going to feed your unconscious, right? So yeah, you got to set that up. And just to kind of like conclude this video, I want to finish by asking this question: how well do you know yourself? How well do you really know yourself, right? I think it's important to like, for example, know when something is mental, logical, and know when it's emotional. You need to be able to detect that in yourself, right? Like if you perceive something a certain way, you need to be able to ask yourself, is this rational or is this irrational, right? Is this logical or is this emotional, right? You need to be able to define things, and you need to be able to give space to correction, right? Like, I believe this is this way, but I'm going to confirm, I'm going to check, right, to see if this is correct. And that way you learn more about yourself when you're able to check things, right, with other people, or even with yourself. Then you're able to like fix certain ideas that were a little bit off in your head, and you're able to proceed with your life as normal, right? So yeah, every time I watch Jodorowsky, I get like, these ideas in my head from him. They're his ideas, but they make me think, and I just thought I'd share them. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, peace.